Hi everybody, Jake here for FMSCOUT, back with another episode of Wonderkid to Superstar, the series where we take a Wonderkid in Football Manager, put them to their maximum potential, simulate their career to see how good of a player you guys could get should you sign that player. Now today's player is someone who I think not many of you will have ever used, and you can get him for a bargain price of nothing. You can approach to sign this guy for free at the start of your saves. You will have to pay a little bit of compensation towards him, but other than that, the fee is pretty minimal. And yeah, I'm calling him the next Mbappe. Yes, he's probably not going to get to Mbappe's quality level, else you guys would have heard of him by now. But he plays for Monaco, he's French, he's a winger, so that's enough for me to put that in the title. But I think he is a very good player. I like how he turns out in this simulation, so hopefully you guys will stick with me to see how we got him there, because we had to do a little bit of work to get the player to that kind of level, as he does start very young, like he's only just turned 16 at the start of this save. Before we get into today's video and show the player though, I'd just like to ask you guys, if you do enjoy this kind of content, please hit the like button. It really does help us out in terms of pushing these videos out to more people. Comment down below your rating out of 10 for this player, take into account how much he costs you, the output that he puts on the pitch and his attributes, all that stuff, and let me know what you think of him. Okay, so here we are at Monaco in the French League, the top French division, so hopefully you guys will have it loaded in your saves. It's quite a common one to have loaded, and there's loads of bargains to find in that league. But you want to head over to their under-19 squad, filter by position or however you like to do it by name, and you'll find this guy. Now apologies if I do get his name wrong, but it is Malamine Efekele. He's a right winger in Monaco's under-19s, as you just saw, and as you're looking at him right now, his attributes aren't that great. However, I will point out a few things before we start. I'm going to quickly put his potential range in the bottom left. Feel free to look away if you don't want to know what it is, but as you can see, if you're on the lower end of this guy and you're picking him up for free, it's a pretty good deal. He's not going to be the world's best player, but you'll likely sell him on for a profit once he has developed, or maybe, depending on what level your team is at, he could feature for you. And if he's on the top end of that potential range, you're going to have one of the best wingers in the world on your hands. But obviously, his attributes don't look amazing here, but I will preface this by saying he is 16 and he's only just turned 16 on the 19th of July, so we're here on the 20th of July when you start a save, so I'm pretty sure that's as close as you can get to being 16 in Football Manager. So one thing to note is I've loaded this guy multiple saves and he's always available to approach the sign no matter his current or potential ability rating. However, his attributes and even his height is something that can vary a lot. In the save you're about to see him in, which is the one we've done the simulation in, not this one, I've made this save so you can see that you can approach to sign him. But in the simulation we're going to be using, he's actually 6 foot, he has 14 technique, and some of his other attributes are different. So for example, he might have 10 crossing here, I don't remember exactly, but in R1 he could have 4 crossing. It all really varies. I mean, his mentals seem to be pretty consistent, particularly determination was at 11 in our other saves too. Now I imagine all of this is down to the fact that he's only just turned 16, so it's going to be hard for the Football Manager scouts to know anything about him, or at least have any crucial details about him, so I guess that's why he changes so much. But this is the guy, Malamine Efekele. As you can see right here, you can go and approach to sign him. We are managing Lille, and below my head, if I wanted to, I could go and negotiate that, and he doesn't really want much. So now we're quickly going to switch to the save where we've brought him over to Lille in the French League to see how he gets on in our team. Okay guys, here we are, the end of Season 1. We're going to be doing 6 seasons in total, but I'll cut out most of them. We'll just do a big jump towards the end of his development. But as you can see, Lille did pretty well, and just a little subtle plug here. You can find my channel linked in the description, where we've just recently hit 2,500 subscribers, and we had a Lille save. We've just finished it, so feel free to catch up on that. A lot of you guys did come over to the channel and said you really enjoyed it, and on top of that, the Lille save, as I said, has just finished, so we're going to be starting a new save soon. So if you want a new Football Manager save to watch, why not give it a try? It doesn't hurt you guys to hit that subscribe button, and you can change your mind at any time. But yes, here we go. He is at Lille, and he has done fairly well in his first season. So this is him after 1 season of development. He's not even 17 years old yet. As you can see, a different kind of player. He's 6 foot. His technique started a lot higher than our guy in the other save, and overall he's just a much better player. This could be down to just, you know, his current ability is different when you load up a save. Of course it could be, but I just think the big difference is in, for example, being 5'9" to 6 foot, it's a big jump, and his acceleration in one save being 8, and in another one he started off at 13, 14. It doesn't seem like a current ability switch to me. It's more just down to SI probably just don't know where his skill set lies, and therefore his attributes maybe just randomly generate. I haven't done enough tests to find out, but yes, here he is after 1 season, still only 16 years of age. However, as a winger on this right hand side, which is where we're using him in a standard tactic simulating on holiday with the assistant manager, it's just a 4-2-3-1 gegenpress tactic. We're not using any specific tactic to get some amazing results out of him. He's being mentored by some players at Lille, and there's not that many great mentors there, And on top of that, what else have we done? Oh yeah, his training, we focused on final third because that was what was lacking in this save. And we put him on double intensity. But other than that, nothing special has been done to this guy just yet. But he's a 2-star player with 9 pros, 4 cons. Potential to be one of the best players in Lille's team and therefore one of the best players in the French division. And physically, after 1 season of growth, it's a very good start. He's quick, which is going to be very handy on that right hand side. Naturally fit, has decent jumping reach too, which is an extra bonus with that 6 foot tall. And he is also fairly agile. He's got a fairly ambitious personality, which I believe is different to the one we were just looking at, who was balanced. So as you can see, a lot of changes can take place. His determination is still 11 here, although his decisions and composure have gone up a lot. At the start of this individual save, his composure was at a 4 or a 5, so it's nice that that's gone up, and that is why we focused on it. But other than that, off the ball, leadership and flair are some great attributes to have on that right hand side for such a young player. And then technically he shines quite a lot too, with 15 technique at the age of 16, 15 first touch, 13 passing, 12 dribbling, 11 crossing. As I did mention, you might not get this exact version of this guy in your save, but as we saw from his potential range, if it's on the low side, you're still getting a decent player, and if it's on the high side, of course it's worth the money. I think in any save, if you can, just quickly pick him up at the start of your save and forget about him, put him in your youth team, and in a few years' time, he might come back up as a player for your first team, or you'll make 3, 4, 5 million pounds off this guy after he's developed a little bit. But here we go. This is Malamine after 1 year of growth. As I said, we're doing 6 seasons with Lille, so we'll quickly hop in between like 3 or 4 seasons in, and then we'll finish up with one more check at the end. So let's just quickly see how he did in his first season. And as I did mention, this is in a very basic tactic. Nothing special was done. We made sure that he played all the time, but that was it. He played 38 times, scored 12 goals with 9 assists and 3 player of the match awards, hitting around a 7 average match rating. So he's done very well for himself for a 16-year-old, and that's probably just down to the fact that he's quick, and in this match engine, being quick helps a lot. Plus that first touch passing technique has helped him get a fair amount of goals and assists, and it just goes to show how much finishing really matters in this FM, with 12 goals despite the fact he's only got 4 for finishing. So let's move on, 3 or 4 years in, see how he's getting on. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this video. I know I'm speeding it along quite a lot, but let's just get into it. Okay guys, here we are, end of season 4 I think this is. Lille finished 9th. The assistant manager hasn't done a great job, so I'll probably just take over for a few seconds and bring some extra players in to help the team in general out. But Malamine has done very, very well in my opinion. For a 19-year-old, he's now an important player for this Lille side, valued at £5 million, but that's due to the contract, the wage he's on, and the club that he's at. I imagine if he's at a PSG or a Chelsea or a Man City, that says 30-40 million, to be honest, in my opinion. But yeah, physically he's still great, and that is really going to help him. Now labelled as a Wonderkid, he's 6 foot tall with a very good turn of pace, and his agility's gone up, natural fitness, jumping reach is great, balance is great. Physically is where this guy is really going to shine on that right hand side as a winger. Mentally is probably his weakest aspect. We've tried to improve a few things, but yes, I think mentally he probably needs a little bit of work, but it's not bad. 13s, 11s, 12s, 15s is pretty good for a right winger. It's not the worst thing when his physicals are so good, and his technicals are also very good too, with 17 technique, 15 passing and 16 first touch being some of the highlights, on top of 15 dribbling and 13 crossing. He's a very good tricky winger, but he's obviously not Mbappe level, but he's still a very good player that you can pick up for free, guys. So I think that is the key part of this guy. You can get him for such a cheap amount of money, and right now I can see in the editor his current ability is around halfway between his potential range. So if you were to get on average load up a few saves, this is roughly what you might get at full growth for this guy for free. I think that is a very good deal, and he's definitely worth more than £5 million. It's just because we're with Lille and his contract situation. But how has he done in game? Well, he's kept up his decent form from that first season, and he's been pretty consistent since. He got 12 goals and 9 assists in that first season, and as the team has slowly declined, his output has kind of gone down too. But he's picked it up in the newest season with 13 goals and 9 assists, a 6.9 average match rating pretty much overall. Plenty of goal contributions throughout, around 15 a season, and in a good season he gets 20 plus. So that is Malamine in the league. 20 plus goal contributions is very good. We're going to see him now when he's at his full growth, when he's at his full potential after 6 years, and I think we've got a very, very good player on our hands there. Okay, here we are, 2026, and the assistant manager must have done a better job because we are now second in the league, and it goes to show how good Malamine has done by the fact that with all this talent in the team, he is still on there with the most assists, so he's keeping up with some of these really well-known Wonderkids of Football Manager, And yeah, he's done great yet again. 21 years old now, so even after 6 years, he's still only 21. Don't take into account his star rating and his potential rating too much, because that is very depending on players in the squad. And as you can see, our squad has improved, and therefore Malamine in comparison doesn't look so good. But we can see he is a top talent. Now appearing for the French national team, which is great because their national team is very good. He was a consistent starter for the under-21s, now 21 years of age. And what a player we have got here. Physically, pretty much the same. I don't see too many differences there. However, it's in the other areas where he's really improved. We wanted his mentals to improve a little bit, and he has, with some of his attributes now being 16s, 15s, the ones that were 12s and 13s before. So it's really upped his game. Really good off the ball. Vision is at 14. We worked on passing for a season, so that's really helped him. We've got 15 passing, 17 technique, 17 first touch, 16 dribbling, 13 crossing. He is a winger, an out-and-out one. He's not going to cut inside and score too often with 5 finishing, but it goes to show if you have good mentals and physicals in this game, it is really important, particularly in attacking areas. Even with 5 finishing, he's been hitting 9-10 goals a season, hasn't he? So he's done very well. Valued at £24 million and getting 50 grand a week roughly at Lille. In the Lille save on my channel, which I'll mention again if you want to check it out in the description, we had Jonathan Okone, who obviously does start at Lille, I believe, and he was very good. We liked him, and I think Malamine has turned into the kind of player that Okone was by the end of his career too. Very similar, other than the fact that I think Okone was more of a cutting inside kind of guy, and Malamine goes on the wing. But I think Malamine might even top him in terms of what you might want in this Football Manager match engine on that right-hand side. He's got everything he needs to be lethal, and if we go and have a look at how he performed in his last few seasons, we can see he did very good in the last 2. Nothing was changed other than, nothing. I don't really remember what we did. I guess we put him on some different training, but I don't think that would have this much effect. So I guess with better players meant that Malamine could then shine, and hopefully you guys, if you're 6 years into a save, he will be playing alongside some pretty decent players. But here we go, in Season 5 he had 20 goals and 15 assists, his best season by far, hitting a 7.32. He was definitely in his Weetabix all throughout that season. And then in his final season he played 38 games in the league, scoring 10 times with 14 assists and a 7.2 average match rating. He's really became one of the world's best wingers, and I really like him. For free, you can't really go wrong. If I was to rate him out of 10, I think I'd be looking at around a 7 or a 6 right now, which isn't bad at all. Any individual awards, I believe he should have done, but I haven't actually checked this by now. If we have a look at competitions, he's won the French Cup, and Lille never won anything other than that, so unfortunate there for Lille. But if we look at his individual awards, he's in a lot of Team of the Weeks. Player of the Month for December, there's nothing too stand out here, no golden boys or anything like that. Runners up in the Next Gen award, which goes to show he is one of the better younger players in this save. But it's as we originally thought, there are plenty of players that are miles better than this guy. No doubt about that. But this is a player that no one really uses. You can get him for free. I don't see why you wouldn't do it. If you have the money at the start of your save and you just want an extra player for your youth team, he'll do well for your youth team, no matter his starting attributes or his potential. And you never know what you're going to get from him. You're either going to get a great starter for your team in the future, or a backup winger, whatever you want to use him as, or you'll sell him on for a profit. There's really no harm in it. What a great player Malamine has become. What do you guys think of him? I think I'm going to give him a 6.5 out of 10. Value is brilliant at pretty much nothing approach to signing him. I think the biggest issue is his starting attributes. His potential range is fine, I don't mind that, but his starting attributes were okay, not great in one save, and then very good in another, so it can vary quite a lot within saves. I think that's the biggest downfall. But performing in-game, he was very good, particularly once he was at full growth in the last couple of seasons. What do you guys think of him? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to come check out my channel linked in the description ahead of our new save. Maybe we'll even sign this guy in it. I think he'd be a very good signing. But yeah, there you go guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.